Welcome to Infrastructure Week, where we cover all things lending tech and transformation. I'm Dave Silverstein, founder and CEO of NED.
Certainly. And so it sounds like, kind of a cash flow underwriting posture is like a back to basics, but simple is best approach when you're looking to optimize, let's say, for speed or to keep up with demand. And accessing or having visibility into cash flow is also a challenge, however, right? And so I'm curious, how did you take on both the opportunity or potential challenge of moving in the direction of a new type of underwriting workflow, but likely having to consider technology changes, other different types of systems that would allow for you to really focus on and engage on this type of underwriting style? Was there an infrastructure question that came with that?
Yeah, and it was interesting because like this project, this what we're calling our lending and redesign project,
Sure.
um, was often referred to even internally as a technology project. And but it was the technology is the easy part, relatively speaking. It's the change management,
Mhm.
it's the process reengineering, it's all of that. It's the policy development when you didn't have um, kind of robust policy that really kind of allowed for scale. I think the hallmark of CDFIs is CDFIs like to be bespoke
Mhm.
in their operations, to be able to serve that next client. Um, it's difficult to scale using a bespoke sort of approach. So the analogy that we often kind of refer to internally is we want sort of the Autobahn highway approach where there's a slow lane for the folks who need to walk through the process, but we don't want and in my international days, I traveled a fair bit in Europe, and I gained a deep appreciation for the high speeds that folks would travel on different different roadways, as opposed to the in the United States where you get the person like going below the speed limit in the fast lane
Right.
type of thing. So we taking that approach is really like, okay, let's have different lanes for folks. Let's create ways to get people who are really ready now through the process as quickly as possible, and those who need more time can take more time.
Great.
And that's
Interesting.
really that's where the technology piece came in, as well as the process reengineering. Like we had to create the process that allowed for that. Um, and then obviously once you kind of figure out the process and you can go and build it on the tech side. So a lot of even on the change management side, a lot of the work that we've done is helping folks within WACIF to understand that this is bigger than technology. This is change management. This is mindsets. This is approaches. These are deep rooted approaches that we may have used our entire careers, and that we have to think differently about this. Um, and that's an ongoing process. And it's training folks in new ways to do their work in ways that they have never done it before. So the first part of the first kind of big milestone, if you would, for us that we kind of launched this thing internally was a new credit workbook, that we developed internally, and that what the team was able to use to start kind of working through without any of the integrations that you would need. And we've like subsequently leveraged Plaid integration. So all this bank data is coming in automatically and it's all getting categorized as revenue or expense, so inflows, outflows. And this is all kind of what we end up with is a couple lines, inflows, outflows over quarterly periods of time over 2 years. And this is what we're using to inform credit decisions. Um, so yeah, it's that change management. It's that kind of the new structure of our lending function from a personnel perspective. So
Gotcha.
how do you realign skill sets and when there's new roles in place and this sort of thing. So that it's an ongoing process, but it's one that we've been in for 2 years now. But this is, I think, like I mentioned earlier on, the it's a mindset thing. This change process is never going to be quote unquote done, because once this project's done, the next project
Then,
needs to begin to
or it's yeah,
to
it's gonna, there's like
continue to,
there's a line of stuff that you want to be able to get
because
to for
you're
sure.
always not, even now, like even with our tech build that we have, there's things that we want to change, because it's
Hmm.
like you get into it, you realize that, wait, when clients are getting held up at this step in the process or what have you, and you're building the list of the next iterations that you want to do, and just to continually reinvent ourselves and reinvent the solutions that we provide.